Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, and welcome to Rebecca Brand Recipes. This is a cooking show, and on today's show, we're going to make a ham and cheese crepe, potato chips, homemade, roasted butternut squash soup, lemon cupcakes from lemons I grow in my backyard right here in Santa Barbara, and a very rich hot chocolate drink. If you see something on this show that you want to make at home, stay tuned, and at the end of the show, I'm going to show you where to go to get those recipes. Happy viewing. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, and today we're making a savory crepe with ham and melted Swiss cheese. This is a great dish to make with your leftovers. We have Swiss cheese, any kind will do, anything grated in your fridge is good to go on this. We have ham, we have a crepe batter, that's savory, that's a little different recipe than the sweet batter, and melted butter. I'm going to get my ingredients together first before I cook my crepe because the crepes just cook so fast. So I'm going to grate my cheese. I like to grate cheese on a paper towel because I can just walk it over to my dish and then throw the paper towel away when I'm done. I don't have to dirty a plate. Now, just a handful is fine. This is a great snack dish. So for my ham, I'm just going to cut a little piece off. You don't need much. This is a super great dish to do with leftover ham. And you always wonder, what am I going to do with all that leftover ham in my fridge? I'm going to show you a lot on my channel, so subscribe to it, and we'll make all those recipes. But for this crepe dish, I'm going to cut my little ham in just little pieces, like little minced up. Rough chop is fine, doesn't have to be perfect. Just so you don't get too big a piece in that bite of your crepe. That's good. I'm happy with that. Now let's make our crepe. I turn my stove on high and I get that pan really hot before I put the butter in. And now I don't want to burn my butter, so what I like to do is use a melted butter. It's less babysitting of that butter. That brown butter taste is not what I want on my crepe. Some people like it, but for me, nah. It's been about 30 seconds and that pan is hot enough. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm going to swish it around. And now here's the trick. You get your 1/4 cup of that batter, you pour it in and you swish it around. There we go. See how fast that was? That's only going to take 30 seconds to cook. To flip it, I'm going to need a fork and a spatula. I need all the assistance I can get. All right, you know it's done because it starts turning a little golden color. So you get your spatula underneath it. You get your fork ready, and then you flip it in one motion. Look at that slide. I like using a stainless steel pan to get the most slipperiness so I can flip it easy. Let's check the other side. It's been 30 seconds. Oh, it's great. Okay, onto our plate. And while it's hot, I put my cheese on it. Yummy. Throw in the ham. And then you roll it up into thirds. Voila. I'm gonna add a little pepper to this. Okay, let's see what it looks like inside. Oh, luscious. I'm going to use my fingers. That's delicious. So subscribe to my channel. Let's make more crepes and more everything else. Voila. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, and today we're making homemade potato chips. All you need for this recipe are potatoes, salt, and oil for frying. This recipe is one of my very favorites. I prefer homemade potato chips to homemade fries any day because they're faster, easier, and much crunchier. The first thing we do is get our oil ready for frying. So I'm turning my stove on high, and I'm pouring in 6 cups of oil. Now it's going to take a little while for that to get hot, so I'm going to leave it there for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be ready to cook. Let's peel our potatoes. I save these grocery bags. This is my way of recycling them, because I don't believe that you should be putting potato peels down your sink. I think it's going to clog up your pipes. I've had to call a plumber before for that. When I peel, I hold the vegetable against the sink and I pivot it. I call it central pivot peeling. Now check for any bad spots, because you don't want it to be brown. They don't taste as good if they're that way. I wash the potatoes just to get any of the dirt that still might be holding on. I put a piece of paper towel in my bowl to catch the water. I don't want them too wet. I'm going to peel my potato using the straight side on the back of this simple grater. So here's the first batch, but I have another trick that you might like better for your potato chips. I take my peeler, and this makes it really beautiful and big and wide and a neat shape. So whatever way you like, do. I've done about 1/4 of my potatoes, so I'm ready to fry it now. I want to get a little more of that moisture out because it's just too wet. We don't need all that water. There, let's go check our oil. This is going to go fast, so I better have my plate ready with the paper towel to drain them. So let's check. We're going to take one and see how it goes. That's ready. Let's put them in a little bit at a time. I'm doing the whole batch. Stay away from that oil. It could hurt you. Use a long spoon to stir it up. Now you'll notice it'll stop to bubble high when they start getting done. So now what you're looking for is the color. The right color you want your chips to take it out, a golden brown. It's time to take them out. They are fluffy and light and just beautiful. Remember to turn your oil off. You don't want to burn it or start a fire. That's the most important thing to remember to do for this recipe. So while it's still hot, put that salt on. You want it to adhere to the grease. A little shake, shake, shake. And there you have them. Let's try them. Oh my gosh. That crunch. They are light and delicious. Make them for you or your family. They're a great snack and they're fast. Subscribe to my channel and let's do some more cooking together. Like me. Share me with your friends. Oh, awesome. Today we're making butternut squash soup. We need 6 cups of butternut that's been roasted. I'm going to show you how. 6 cups of chicken stock, 3 tablespoons butter, 1 tablespoon salt, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and 1.5 cups of onion, celery, and carrots. And if you don't have homemade chicken stock, doesn't matter, you can use the canned variety. So let's get cooking. So you got to cut your butternut. It is tough. You got to get your strongest, most heavy-duty knife, and you really put your elbow grease into it. What you want to do is get the seeds out of it. So use your big spoon with like the most sharp edge. I like to olive oil it. When you put it flat down on your baking sheet, when I take it off later, it's not going to stick, and that's good. So into the oven it goes. Now I'm going to leave that in there for 1 hour and 20 minutes. It is beautifully roasted. So what you want to do is use a spatula to pull it up. That is a harvest dish. What I'm going to do is take all of this out and put it in a bowl. You get all the way to the edges of the skin. Right now is the perfect time to get the squash out of that skin because it's as soft as it's going to be. If you were to put this into your refrigerator to work on it tomorrow, it's going to be kind of gelatinous and hard, and it's not going to work as easy as it's working right now. We did a good job with those. Next, here we have 2 large butternut squashes, 6 cups of squash for our soup. First thing I want to do is melt my butter. I do not want my butter to brown, so I turn it on low to get it ready. 3 tablespoons of butter into the pan. I twirl my carrot like a little ballerina. That makes it go fast. Time to cut the onion. I cut off the ends. I cut down the center. I peel it. Now for this recipe, you can do a rough chop because what's happening is we're going to sweat these vegetables, but they all hit the blender. So I just kind of do it so they evenly cook. It's really, really easy. That butter is just melted, no browning on it, which is what I want because that would change the flavor. And now that there's an ingredient in that pot, I can crank that thing to high to hurry up with the sweat routine. So that's good. I'm going to save time by chopping these really fast and in big hunks. It doesn't matter so much. I just want them to evenly cook. Mission accomplished. Same routine, just big chunks. Doesn't matter. The blender is going to do the rest. And I'm just trying to get equal amounts of these, but a little more, a little less, you're fine. Now I'm going to stir those vegetables. Now that's going to take maybe 10 minutes to really cook. Remember, I'm keeping it on a high and I'll keep coming back and give it a little swig. I don't really necessarily want it to be too brown. If it gets some brown color, that's great because that adds a little caramelization. It's not going to hurt your dish. So now it's time to use our blender to blend our squash with chicken stock. Now, if you don't have chicken stock, homemade like I do, you can use some out of a can or you can use the cubes or granules to make it. Me, I am so thrifty. If I have an old chicken in the house, I stick it in a pot of water with a couple of bay leaves and I let it boil. And that becomes this. It also is very gelatinous. Let me show you. Look at that. And that is all the goodness from the chicken. And that was basically free. So I like that. We put in 3 cups of roasted squash and 2 cups of broth. And just blend it. If your blender doesn't get it all down the bottom, you go like this. You just stir it up. That's what it should look like. Beautiful and smooth. So I've done my job. We're good. This now is going to go into a bowl that I'm going to add into my soup later. So back on it goes. We're going to do it again. It has been about 4 minutes since I started this process. At this point, I'm going to turn it down to medium. I don't want to take a chance that they get burned while I'm doing my blending routine. Blend. All right, our last batch, we're going to pour that in. I am so happy with that. Okay, back over the stove. Let's check on those vegetables. Oh, they are sweating so nice. Yay. I'm going to add now 2 cups of water to finish cooking them in that pot. Into here it goes. I'm going to stir that around, and I want them to boil and cook them through and through as soft as that squash was. So here we go, crank it up. So at this point, I want to add my salt to this because the salt will dissolve evenly in the little rich broth we're making with those vegetables. It is 2½ tablespoons full of salt. Okay, now we're going to let this sit for 15 minutes on a boil. I'm going to turn this up to high, but then when it boils, I'm going to turn it down to medium. They are very soft. So we're going to put it in the blender. This is really hot though. I fill the blender up maybe 1/3 of the way, and I'm going to add some water to it. 1 scoop of cold water. Blend it. So that's going to go into our butternut squash puree. I want to get everything. If I were to see some lumps in there, I would blend it longer. In here we have our squash, we have our vegetable puree all mixed together. All right, I need to heat this up to serving temperature. So it's going to take about 10 minutes on medium. This soup is piping hot now. It's time to add the heavy whipping cream. Here we go for those 2 cups. So let's dish up a bowl. It is delicious. Now, if you're vegan, you don't have to add chicken broth. And you don't have to add that cream. You can just use water. This is extra thick. Look at that thickness here. It's great on a really cold autumn night. Bon appetit. And today we're going to make lemon cupcakes with lemon batter and lemon icing. And let me tell you what's in them. We start with flour, sugar, baking powder, vanilla extract, sour cream, eggs, butter, and lemon zest. Now that's just in the batter. Then we have our frosting made up with lemon zest again, lemon juice, powdered sugar, heavy whipping cream, and then I top it off with even more whipped cream. Let's get started. I've devised a very quick method to make cake batter. It's a dump and go method. I'm dumping in 1½ cups of flour, 1 cup sugar, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. Let's give that a mix. Good. Now we're going to add 1/2 cup of butter. Now I'm just going to break that up in little pieces as it goes in. And now I'm going to add my 2 eggs. Now, I know a lot of you say, hey, you're taking a big chance cracking those eggs with that shell in that mix. And you know what? I do take a chance. But I tell you, about 1 in 30 comes out with a shell. So there you have it. I'm okay with it. I go for the odds. So now we're going to add our 1/2 cup sour cream to that. And our zest. That's the zest of 1 lemon. And the last step is that 1 teaspoon vanilla. Give that a mix on medium. And don't overmix it, you're done. This cupcake recipe is light, it's not a lemon pound cake. Beautiful. That's what it should look like. I've pre-lined a cupcake pan with simple little cupcake papers. I'm using a scoop, and the reason is this is a very good trick because they're all the exact same quantity, which makes them cook really evenly. This batter is exactly enough for 12 cupcakes. So scrape your bowl. Okay, it's ready to go in the oven. Well, while those cupcakes are baking, let's make our frosting. The easiest way to juice a lemon in a simple home kitchen is just with a fork, the lemon, and going through a strainer. You do not need all those fancy appliances. And you might be wearing some of your lemon along the way. That's what's fun about cooking. You always get a little surprise like that. So here we go. This is what makes these cupcakes so very special because of all the sweetness with that tang and tart of that lemon. This little lemon, this size, was about 1/4, almost 1/4 cup of juice. Now let's zest. I got my lemon from the garden and a zesting tool. Any kind is fine. Now, you just gotta make sure you do not get your white stuff. That's the pith. That pith is very bitter. I avoid that in every single thing I cook. And that's it. That's about the quantity for 1 lemon. That guy looks pretty good there. Okay, let's mix it up now. In goes our lemon juice, our lemon zest. So now we're gonna add in our powdered sugar and our cream, but we're gonna alternate each, just a little bit at a time, till it gets all beautiful and frothy and light. And we'll go a little higher on that speed, it goes faster that way. Then towards the end, let's add that teaspoon of vanilla. So all natural. It's quite a white color, but delicious. But just for the artist in me, I'm gonna spike it up with some yellow food coloring. Okay, 3 drops, let's see what that does. Yeah. Looks a little bit more like those lemons off that tree. Done. Those cupcakes are ready, let's take them out. It's been 18 minutes at 375 in our oven. Let's check them. Okay, I take my toothpick and I go into a fatty. Let's see. Yep, he came out clean. They're done. Now these cupcakes have to thoroughly cool before we put the frosting on. Otherwise that frosting is going to melt all the way down the sides. That frosting turned out great. So we are ready to frost our cupcakes. They are now cooled. So I am so excited to try these because not only is the batter a light cupcake batter, but with that lemon zest in it, this fresh lemon juice and zest in this frosting is killer. Now I put just a little bit of that whipped cream on top, and that's my homemade whipped cream recipe, so you can find it on my channel. Isn't that the cutest? So let's continue frosting these. And what I like about this recipe is you can make it at home, and it is as gourmet as any fancy cupcake shop anywhere in America. And the key is that you've used that fresh lemon. So, I mean, that's really when it's worth it to do that. And forget about the convenience, because it just took me really 60 seconds to do all that stuff with my lemon. And I get so much out of that extra step. See? That's what I'm talking. Okay, now this one's for me. Let's try it. Take off the little wrapper. Look at him. Yummy. Oh my gosh. That is totally killer. That batter is perfect and light and a little zesty. And that topping is great. And that whipped cream on top of that topping, it just brings down that tartness of the lemon perfectly. So let's cook some more and tell me what you think. Give me your comments and like me and share me. I know you have friends that like to cook. Cheers. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, and today we're going to make the most rich, luscious hot chocolate ever. The ingredients for this dish are real easy. It's just milk, heavy cream, brown sugar, chocolate chunks, dry cocoa powder, vanilla extract, a dash of cinnamon, and of course, homemade whipped cream. You're using that cream anyway, so why not make a batch of that to go on top? I've got a recipe on my channel, look for it. Now I have measured my mug, and it takes exactly 2 cups of liquid to fill it. So this is my proportion for 2 cups of a recipe. You start with 1.5 cups of regular milk. This actually is low-fat milk. Now I'm adding 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Heavy whipping cream, something really yummy to go in that. Now, this is what I do. I take 1/4 cup of brown sugar. This makes it really luscious. So that's gonna go in the milk while I turn that on, and I'm gonna bring that up to a scalding. And scalding is like a simmering, it doesn't boil. If you boil your milk, it tastes a little sour, and I can notice that difference. So I've turned this on high. I'm sitting here stirring it because I always like to get to the finish line fast. It's gonna take between 2 to 3 minutes to get that to scalding. But don't go too far because you don't want it to boil over and make a big mess. Hey, so I see my little bubbles coming up the side of that pan. That's how I know it's coming up to scalding. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, down to low. We turn it down to low. And let's pour our chocolate chips in. It's a little messy. I'm just gonna whip that up and melt it. Now that's just hot enough, I'm gonna turn that off. Incorporate all those little chocolate chips into your heavy, milky, creamy liquid. Well, there's more fun to be had. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder to it, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a pinch of cinnamon. I'm gonna mix that up. And all that chocolate powder is gonna dissolve in that beautiful base of the milk and the cream. This is just the best recipe for a cold winter night, and this is one big serving just for me. I'm telling you, I like all those rich ingredients because if I'm gonna go with those calories, it's gotta be really good. Oh my gosh, I can smell that chocolate. It is just amazing. What an aroma with the chocolate and that cinnamon. So let's pour it in our cup. Homemade whipped cream is one of my favorite things to have on hand, so I made extra. Oh, look at that. Let's put that right on top. That homemade whipped cream is the crown jewel on this dish. A little extra. Time to try it. I admit it. My name's Rebecca and I'm a chocoholic. Enjoy your hot chocolate. Sit by that cozy fire. Share this recipe with your friends. Click on that link and send it around. Subscribe to my channel and let's make a lot more stuff together. Voila. If you want to make any of the recipes you saw on my show today, I've posted them all on YouTube. I'm going to show you how to find them so you can jot the recipes down and make it at your own house. So you got to get to a computer, you press your website browser, go to your address bar, and you type in www.youtube.com. Enter. Then YouTube's going to have its own little search bar. So in that search bar, you type in Rebecca Brand Recipes. You hit enter on your keyboard, and then you're going to get my page. So my page is going to come up, and then you want to search for the recipe you saw on the show. So you go into this little black thing. It's a black search bar. It's like you can never see it, so let me show you where it is. And in that bar, you type in what you saw. Let's say you saw a chicken recipe. So if you type in chicken and you press return, you're going to get all my chicken dishes. And then you can just click on whatever chicken you want. It's as simple as that. So start watching the video, and in it comes the recipe. So you click pause, and that's it. Get your pencil and paper together, start writing. Those are the ingredients, and they're exactly what I make on camera. For the techniques, you might want to watch it again. But bon appetit, happy cooking, and I'd love to know how it turns out. Cheers.